going on, Jerome's? Happy Friday. Now, I am fully on team pay Danielle Hunter, keep him in purple a long time, because it is hard to find a star edge rusher, especially one that is selfless in his play, is great against the run, and can certainly bring that heat. And I don't know what's going to happen. I mean, Danielle skipped mandatory minicamp. Looks like things are headed that way to start training camp as well, but just playing devil's avocado here and trying to be fair and balanced. I know it's a crazy notion in today. But here are 6 reasons why the Vikings should trade Danielle Hunter, and let's get into it. Number 1, he's old. Now, he's not old. He is 28, going to be 29 in October, but you do have to factor in that he's going to be crossing the 30-year-old Rubicon, and if you sign him up to a 3-4 year extension, that's getting into 32, 33 years of age, and with the Vikings going full facelift, as Kwesi Adofo-Mensah does a competitive rebuild, is that, do you want to allocate premium money to a player who's still at his peak? Yes, but is starting to cross over that threshold and become a little bit older and a little bit longer in the tooth, and potentially wouldn't have the same trade value in a couple of seasons. Who knows? Next up, reason number 2 why the Vikings should trade Danielle Hunter. Past peak. So I'm a big believer in Danielle Hunter, but you look back and the inflection point was 2020 when he missed the entire season with a herniated disc in his neck. Just a tweak, they said. Did miss a handful of games in 2021 at the torn pec, but showed that he stayed healthy in 2022. And also, it's more important. A torn pec is a torn pec, right? It happens. But I think it's more important over the last 2 years they proved that neck is not an issue, and he's good to go in that regard. But 2018, 2019, he was easily one of the best edge rushers in the game. 29 sacks total over those 2 years, as well as a robusto 14.5% pressure rate over those 2 seasons. Now, last year, 10.5 sacks did lead the Vikings. 12.5% pressure rate is still nothing to sneeze at, but it is down from his peak, and he is learning. He did have to learn a new scheme on the fly last year, so you do have to factor that in. But is he going to get back to 2016, 18, 19 territory where he was racking up and stacking up mid double-digit sack seasons? Who knows? Next up, reason number 3 why the Vikings should trade Danielle Hunter. Scheme fit. So Danielle Hunter's best position is strong side defensive end, close side of the field, hand in the dirt, preferably in a 4-3 over scheme. And the Vikings, sticking with a 3-man front, sticking with the 3-4, even though everything is sub package everywhere. And I'm sure that Flores would find a spot for him, but what's his true position going to be? Is it going to be stand-up outside linebacker? Is it going to be a bit of a 4-tech, 5-tech? Would Flores play him like he played Trey Flowers with a lot of success with some of those Patriots defenses? Possibly. But if the Vikings are going full, hey, edge rushers are stand-up outside linebackers, and as well as they have to drop into coverage, I mean, maybe Danielle doesn't want to do that, and maybe Danielle's agent doesn't want to do that either, because, I mean, 2016, 18, 19, were when he was playing that left defensive end spot in the Zimmer defense and just getting after it with his hand in the dirt. Now, I think he certainly could and should learn a new position and have flexibility, but if he wants to put up stats, if he wants to get paid, if he wants to make a difference, I mean, finding a team that plays 4-3 would make the most sense. And we said this before. The Bears, if you look at the Bears edge rusher room, I mean, it's Travis Gibson and nobody else. And they do play that 4-3 over under Eberflus at Kia Toilet. So that would make the most sense. And Kwesi is not afraid to trade in division, but next up, reason number 4 why the Vikings should trade Danielle Hunter. Again, I wouldn't trade Danielle Hunter, but again, we're playing devil's avocado here. Number 4, too expensive. So elite edge rushers are making $20+ million per season. Now the Vikings do have $19.2 million in cap space, but you got to pay JJ, you got to pay TJ, you're gonna have to pay Darisaw. Potentially, you're paying Kirk Cousins next year as well. And even though at a certain point, I mean, that cap gets stretched a little bit too thin. So would Danielle be a luxury item at that point, a luxury player? Maybe. Next up, reason number 5 to trade Danielle Hunter. Belief in the youngins. So looking at the edge rusher depth, if you didn't have Danielle Hunter. So Davenport signed here as a free agent, and you're betting on that potential. Did have 9 sacks in 2021, as well as over the last 2 years had the third best pressure rate in the league at 15.5%. Then you got Patrick Jones second, DJ Wanham. They combined for 8 sacks in 2022. Wanham, who's very adept at being a stand-up outside linebacker, he played that at South Carolina a lot during his collegiate career. Also, when Wanham was allowed to be more of a contributor in 2021, he did post 8 sacks, so you do have to factor that in. Also, guys like Luigi Villain, guys like Andre Carr II, the high-end UDFA. I mean, there's a lot of guys that could probably benefit from getting those snaps that would be free if Danielle Hunter was indeed traded. Also, these guys a little bit more adept at being a stand-up outside linebacker, a little bit more experience in that regard. And lastly, reason number 6 why you should trade Danielle Hunter. Really, this should be reason number 1. So trade capital for a quarterback of the future. So Danielle, given his age, given his contract, he still does have a lot of trade value, and we've always gauged it roughly a first and a third, a la the Bradley Chubb trade approximately. So if you can get a first and change for Danielle, arming the Vikings with 2 first-round picks, I mean, maybe you won't have the capital to get all the way up to the top spot for Caleb Williams or Drake May or whoever. But, if a guy like Jordan Travis or Van Dyke or Quinn Ewers just float around the middle of the first round, maybe you can get yourself at 10 or on the borderline of top 10 and vault yourself up there and go get your guy. I think that would be... That's one of the only upsides of potentially trading Danielle Hunter, is that you would have the draft capital to potentially find your quarterback of the future. But again, I'm very much pro keep Danielle, but I understand it. And again, just playing devil's avocado in this spot. But your thoughts are thoughts. 6 reasons why the Vikings should trade Danielle Hunter. Let us know your thoughts and our thoughts in the comment section below. Subscribe for daily Vikings takes. Want to support the work? Put a little something in the Venmo. But till next time, Skull Production Value.